Kevin McHale reveals which controversial Glee cover was therapeutic to discuss with creator Ryan Murphy. Glee covered dozens of noteworthy songs throughout its 6-season run, but there's one that still baffles star Kevin McHale to this day. McHale, 34, is currently reliving his Glee days with former co-star Jenna Ushkowitz on their new iHeartRadio Rewatch podcast And That's What You Really Missed. And the duo brought series co-creator Ryan Murphy on Monday's episodes to kick off the entire series. It was a dream come true, Ushkowitz, who played Tina Cohen-Chang, tells People. You don't really hear him talk about Glee all that much anymore. Having Murphy, 56, on the podcast gave the two co-hosts the chance to ask him all their burning questions about the making of the acclaimed Fox series. Specifically, McHale really wanted to ask why he and his co-stars were told to cover Ylvis the Fox. What does the fox say? The moment in question occurred during the show's 5th season in 2013. At the time, the cast donned animal masks and sang through puppets. It was actually really therapeutic to be able to talk about what the fox say, says McHale, who played Artie Abrams. I was just like, Ryan, what? I really feel like we were so lucky to have him on the first 2 episodes because the way we've always spoken with each other is just so open and honest and blunt that it was nice to be able to put that down on the record so people can see that. But also, to ask him about these numbers, like, why did we do what the fox said? Related, Kevin McHale and Jenna Ushkowitz are ready to address the biggest misconceptions about Glee. Acknowledging the cover was among Glee's cringy numbers, McHale adds, we didn't make those decisions. We just had to act them out. Glee alums Kevin McHale and Jenna Ushkowitz to address biggest misconceptions about the show in new podcast. Given the time period in which Glee aired, some episodes may no longer stand the test of time, and both McHale and Ushkowitz, 36, absolutely think that's the case. Ushkowitz admits that some of the show's more random episodes may be difficult to discuss. There are just some episodes too, she says. You're like, how do we talk about this? It's such a weird episode. It doesn't fit in at all, but here it is. Well, try and think of creative ways to kind of talk about those. Related, get an intimate glimpse of the Glee cast's final day on set. McHale explains, I feel like it's such a good snapshot of the era of the time. I always feel like Glee was sort of a bridge between the old and current day where Glee presented a bunch of ideas, socially awkward, uncomfortable, challenging ideas, to address on national television. But we weren't necessarily, as a public, having that dialogue as frequently as we were on Glee or presenting America with these different types of people. He continues, I feel like now, we know so much more. We know better, but we didn't necessarily at the time we were raising all these questions, but were we handling it properly? So it will be fun to be able to go back and be like, oh, this was really progressive and great that we talked about this, but also, should we have done this? Related, Glee alums Kevin McHale and Jenna Ushkowitz say death of Naya Rivera led them to end original podcast. McHale and Ushkowitz intend to dig a little bit deeper on And That's What You Really Missed, which comes after the cancellation of their former Showmance rewatch podcast. I think the thing that we want to do differently this time is really kind of dig into what was going on in the world as well. In pop culture, in politics, in the ways that I think the writers were probably inspired and impacted to write for the show, Ushkowitz explains. Gay marriage was just being legalized. We had the first black president. It was a really inspiring time in many ways. Adds Ushkowitz, we're definitely going to have a lot of Glee alums. We're going to have some behind-the-scenes crew people as well. iHeartRadio is dropping new episodes of And That's What You Really Missed weekly across multiple podcast platforms.